Hello everybody, welcome to That's Football. Chelsea demolish West Ham in an outrageous game of football. We will be talking about the penalty. Amazing actually, because this has been a game where I was looking at it thinking, have Chelsea gone to West Ham and demolished them in the sense of a footballing style? Not really, but massive hats off to Chelsea. That, was it 4 against Wolves, 3 against West Ham? It's not a smash and grab. It's just a very good defensive performance and some very good goals. I wouldn't call them breakaways, just very, very efficient. I mean, Chelsea away from home at the moment almost look perfect. I know it's only Wolves and West Ham, but it's only Barnsley and Southampton for Man United. You still got to go and demolish these teams, and that's what Chelsea's done. And I tell you what as well, Nicholas Jackson today, the assist for Cole Palmer on the 3rd goal, the 2 goals, I know Caicedo and Sancho get assists and they'll get the FPL points, but he's still got a lot of work to do there. Fair play to the lad. Fair play to him. Absolutely fantastic performance from him, and a very, very good result from Chelsea. But look, we're talking VAR. I mean, I want to talk about West Ham. I want to talk about Chelsea. Get your comments in. Who was your man of the match? What did you think about the game? Can Chelsea get top 4 this season? I think that is the real quiz. As I said on Twitter, I think the race for 4th place is going to be absolutely massive. But VAR again in the first game of the Premier League weekend. I mean, this is what they had to say in relation to the penalty that I think should have been given to West Ham. The pullback from Fofana on Somerville. VAR, Premier League Match Centre, said the referee's call of no penalty for the challenge by Fofana and Somerville is checked and confirmed by VAR, deeming that this was not sustained holding. I mean, this is a dangerous place to go down. Look, Chelsea deserve to win the game. West Ham have been naive defensively, but just imagine this is your club and that's your player being pulled back. Same for Chelsea. You've won the game. You deserve to win the game. You don't need to protect VAR. You don't need to. Honestly, if that's at the other end and that's Jadon Sancho running through or Cole Palmer running through, you're going to want a penalty. I'm going to want a penalty for it if it's Garnacho or Rashford later. You're going to want it if it's Martinelli. You're going to want it if it's Grealish. It's a bloody penalty. Fofana has grabbed his arm. All right, it's not for a long period of time, but he's pulled him back as he's gone past him. You can't put a tweet out saying it's not sustained holding. It's holding then, yeah? You've just decided it's not sufficient to give a penalty. Tell the bloody truth. Where are we creating this factual handball bullshit that wasn't a handball against Bournemouth? And where are we creating this it wasn't sustained holding? Where in the rule book does it say you've got to hold them for 3 seconds or 2 seconds or 1.5 seconds? You either think it's a foul or it's not. You'd be better off saying, and I'd have more respect if they said, we don't think there was sufficient holding to, make him go down. We thought there was an element of simulation in there. Book him. But this, look, I just think officiating in this country is absolutely shit, and they get themselves into more trouble when you scrutinise these, borderline decisions, and they come up with ridiculous excuses. They make their job harder because they start adding in excuses about sustained holding. Look, he's gone past him. Fofana's pulled him back. Put yourself in the mind of the defender. What are you doing? You're pulling him back. You're pulling the shirt. Whatever you want. If he was pulling his shirt, it's the same thing. Has he pulled his shirt? No, he's pulled his arm back. What's the purpose for it? Are you allowed to do that? No. Why have you done it? Because you fouled him. If it happened anywhere on the pitch, you probably get a yellow card. It's a foul. It's soft. It's a foul. It's 2-0 to Chelsea. 2-1 if the penalty goes in. Interesting game. I can understand West Ham's frustration. But look, we're going to see this all the time. But look, I think it was a penalty. But, I mean, Chelsea fans are going to come on going, it's not a penalty. I don't know why you're sticking up for VAR. It happened to you next week. I've said this before. We should all be united in this. It was a shocking decision. But what's even more shocking is the start to the season for West Ham. Absolutely terrible. What are you doing shipping that amount of goals at home against Chelsea on a Saturday lunchtime when you've had a bad start to the season? And look, across the game, they've had roughly the same possession, roughly the same shots, but Chelsea have absolutely murdered them on the break. I don't want to say on the break, actually. Chelsea, if this was a boxing match, very, very close, throwing the same sort of punches, but Chelsea have just thrown proper power in theirs. Proper power. Killer blows, really. And West Ham have been knocked down. It's you've got to be impressed with Chelsea. I think they've got so much going on at that football club. You never know what's coming next. But to be fair, they're doing well. They're putting themselves into that top 4 race. And I don't think a lot of people necessarily would have put them into that. But you look at it, I do think City win the league. I think Arsenal second, and I think Liverpool will be third. But if we only get 4 places in the Champions League, hopefully we'll get 5. But if we only get, even if we get 5, it's Chelsea, Newcastle, Aston Villa, Spurs, hopefully Manchester United, maybe Brighton. That's 6 teams going for 4th place. Maybe 5th will get you in the Champions League as well. Some teams are going to be very disappointed in May. And I think this is the real quiz in the Premier League. The title race, I think, might be quite boring. The relegation race, I think, will be boring. But the race for 4th place, I think, is going to be really, really interesting. And Chelsea have started off really well. Newcastle have started off very, very well. I think Spurs will kick on again. Villa have started off very well. I'm hoping United are going to bounce back. Brighton have started off very well. But Chelsea, at the moment, everything's going well. They are a borderline team, Chelsea, though. What I would say, and I'm sure there'll be Chelsea fans in the chat, West Ham actually gave them a game today. They just couldn't deliver anything in the box. Bournemouth should have beaten last week. So I'm not going to start saying Chelsea's suddenly going to go on an amazing run, but I do think you've got to give them the credit that they deserve, because the goals they scored today. And look, I've been a big critic. I mean, they're second in the league at the moment. I know there's a lot of teams to play, but they've got 10 points. I've been a big... If Arsenal lose to Man City tomorrow, Chelsea are above Arsenal. That's a big statement, isn't it? So I think that, nothing's ever set in stone with football. We can all ridicule, we can all dislike, we can all praise, we can all protect, we can all have agendas. But I'm never going to sit here and say, I think Nicholas Jackson's a top striker. I think Chelsea, if they want to win league titles, they do need a world-class striker, and I've never understood why. Just because he scored 2 goals and got an assist today, he scored hat-tricks last year, I ultimately think deep down in every Chelsea fan, they know that over the last 2 years, Bowley should have spent money on a striker. That Jackson ultimately is not going to be that guy. But today was that guy. Can he do it consistently? But today, he definitely was that guy, and he does deserve the credit for that, absolutely. And I look at Chelsea's next few fixtures, Brighton at home, Forest at home, before the next international break. Win those 2 games, you're putting yourself in a position where you are going to be comfortably in the top 4. So I thought they were fantastic today. West Ham, look, on a different day, they might have got that penalty. It might have made Chelsea a little bit, different in the way that they approach the game, but ultimately it's a fantastic result for Chelsea. And you worry about West Ham because they've got this new manager in Lopetegui. They've only got 4 points, and I would imagine by the end of this weekend they're probably going to be knocking around 5th, 6th from bottom, and it's not looking good. And it's amazing because I look at their lineup and I think, well, you know what, it's a good Chelsea, it's a good West Ham side, but I don't necessarily, I will drop this, West Ham fans and everybody else, I don't think getting rid of Ward-Prowse was a good idea. Ward-Prowse is going to deliver literally quality crosses, quality set pieces, and consistency. And I know Paqueta's a good player, and I know they've brought in, some good midfielders, and they have got good midfielders, and they won the transfer window. But at the moment, it ain't working. It's almost like there's too many good players. They don't have a best 11, and I'm not saying they're missing David Moyes. They've got every right to want to play better football. But at the moment, Tadebo's not starting. He's on the bench now. They're still not, Antonio was on the bench today. Danny Ings is on the bench. Soucek is on the bench. Kufal's on the bench. They've brought decent players in, but it's just not working for them at the moment. And I don't think West Ham are going to go down, but is mid-table good enough for West Ham based on all the money they've spent? So keep an eye on them. Make sure you smash a like on the subscribe. Get your comments in below. Chelsea, ridiculously good day today. The goals were fantastic. Big shout out for Nicholas Jackson. I think it definitely was a penalty. It's shocking from VAR, but taking nothing away from Chelsea, I don't think they deserved not to win that game today. Get your comments in and what your thoughts on West Ham.